How's it going, everybody? My name's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to Retro Flashback, showcasing gaming's roots for a new generation. And, well, welcome to my PS4 download screen. Yeah, I'm sure you're wondering what the heck this is all about. So, well, I decided to do something kind of off the cuff this time. We're going to be taking a look at something, well, you can see it right here. I'm just finishing up the download right now. It's called Arcade Archives Rygar. Now, if you're a follower of Giant Bomb, you may be aware of this a little bit. So, there's been a series of arcade games that have been coming out on the Japanese PlayStation 4 store by a company called Hamster Corporation. Yes, you heard that right, Hamster Corporation. And they are a rather prolific publisher in Japan. They haven't done a ton outside of there. They've had their name on a few things here and there, but they have basically been repackaging a number of well-known arcade games with little wrappers for the PlayStation 4 for $8 a pop. Well, it was the equivalent of $8 in yen, and well, this is the interesting part. Arcade Archives Rygar, which is the first one, actually came out in North America. It just kind of dropped a couple of days ago. And I decided, what the heck, I'd check it out. This is the only one that's out. There's a bunch of other ones they put out in Japan. Presumably, those are going to be coming here as well, because it's not very hard to switch over. And yeah, it's $8. I was like, that's a lot of bloody money for one arcade emulation. But I was like, hey, gotta serve my audience, right? You guys need to know. That's what you come here for. So I just decided to fire up my PS4, which happened to be plugged in at my desk, and I was like, let's just grab this and go into it straight blind. So, I know a little bit about this from the coverage on Giant Bomb, but not a lot. So, we're going to learn together what this is, at least in the North American version. So, yeah, it was $8, 330 meg download for one arcade game that was probably less than a meg in its day, which is a little crazy. So that's the Koei Tecmo logo. So Rygar, as you can see, was originally a Tecmo game, so that makes sense. Koei Tecmo is the new version of that. Koei and Tecmo merged a few years ago. And as you can see there, Arcade Archive series produced by Hamster Company. So, okay, so we got the very basic front end here. Capcom arcade cabinet this ain't, but let's go take a look. Alright, so here's our controller layout. The touchpad button... So the touchpad button brings up the options menu, but the options button is start. Okay, sure, why not? You just feed credits with the... So it's not even set to free play, you actually feed credits into it with triangle. That's kind of cool, I like that. Jump with circle, attack with X... Rotation, attack, directional buttons up. R3 is the options menu. Oh, okay, so I can do either way. Why would you want to click R3 when you can press the touchpad? Anyway, and to turn pages in the manual, you flick the touchpad. So yeah, it's kind of a nice touch. I'll give them that. And the rest of this is just move. Rygar, the arcade game, was not particularly complicated, so... alright, so here we are. So, we're in 4x3, obviously. Doesn't look like they've done a heck of a lot to this. It has been up-resed, clearly, but yeah, it's not looking too bad. The colors pop nicely. It's nice and crisp looking. This is okay. So, all right. Well, let's go into the menu, I guess. So, do I hit touchpad? I guess. Setting... What? Settings can be accessed... Wow! So, Jeff Gerstmann had made a point of saying that this game has basically the easiest... Or rather, each of these Arcade Classics wrappers basically has the easiest trophies in the universe to get. And, wow, he ain't kidding. It was literally a trophy for accessing that. I believe he said you could get trophies for accessing most of the other menus. Oh my god. Well, okay then. Okay, so it looks like you can kind of do a Okay, it looks like you can do... So if you've seen my series on Capcom Arcade Cabinet, that had some interesting stuff in it where you could basically do crazy screen adjustments and stuff, and you can do that here, it looks like. I don't know why you'd want to, but, you know, I said the same thing about Capcom Arcade Cabinet. Most of those options were utterly pointless, but, you know, it shows that they put a little bit of effort that's there. So, okay. So that's position. So, yeah, just like Capcom Arcade Cabinet, you can stretch this out. I mean, to be fair, if you're writing an emulation layer, this is not exactly hard stuff to program. So, sure. Orientation. Now, this... Okay. So, you see, this is kind of cool if you're on, like, I'm on a monitor right now because I'm at my desk, and I don't have a monitor right now that can do this, but some of them can rotate, which would be kind of cool if you were getting, like, an arcade-style orientation, but if you rotate it, it just looks like the same thing. So I don't really know what the point of doing that is. I don't know, again, why. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but sure. So, alright. So, restore. This just resets everything to default, which we already did. So, frame. Now, this is a nice thing. Oh, wait, that's it? See, I thought this was also going to be like Capcom Arcade Cabinet, where you could fill in that background with, like, cool other images and stuff, but it looks like it just puts a tiny little box around it. I don't like... Okay. So... Yeah, so obviously this is an old game. It's in 4:3. It is not widescreen, so that's why it's in a box like that. Kind of lame that you can't change that around. This is incredible. If you are a trophy nut, these games, I mean, you've already gone out and bought it. If you're a trophy nut, this is the easiest thing in the world for you. So, okay, so you can cycle your remaining lives, the amount of points you need for an extra life, the difficulty. Wow. Interesting that it defaults to easy. Player 2 can jump in at any time. I only have one controller, so whatever. You can turn continues on and off. That's kind of neat. Okay. Button setting. That's not going to get old. Okay, you can change your buttons. Nice. Now, this is the manual, I guess, which... No trophy for the manual. Oh, you guys are slacking. So, let's see how well this flick thing works. Yeah, it's just like swiping on a smartphone or a tablet, but it's nice. So this is the basics of it. I'm not talking about the game yet because we haven't started it. I figured it would be interesting to check out this emulation layer as well because... Okay, so there is a manual trophy. I figured it would be good to check this out first. This is what I like to do with some of these collections, to see how well the wrapper is first. So... And online rankings, this is leaderboards, I guess. Aim to be the best. Well, 6,651,000 points. I didn't even think that was remotely doable in this game. So you know what? I am not going to be the best. I'm going to guess as well, based on some of these names, that it's pulling the leaderboards globally. So... This is probably pulling names from the Japanese PlayStation Store as well as the North American store. I actually think that's kind of cool. I think it's nice to have that actually broken out internationally. So that's kind of cool. You can also look at your own score. I don't have one yet, obviously. Resetting the game, that just reboots the ROM, I guess. Totally. And they... That's hilarious. Okay, and create interrupt save data. This is probably a save state. So basically, you obviously couldn't save in arcade games. This probably allows you to basically create a snapshot in time that you can roll back to, which if you're trying to get good... See, guys like speedrunners would probably really like this, actually, because it allows you to, if you're practicing to try to get maximum score on something or whatever, it basically allows you to go back to a certain point in the game over and over again without having to restart it. Stuff like that is cool, and that's where packages like this can really shine. So, anyway, so we've done that. So, all right, let's dig into this, shall we? Feed it in. Push one player button. So I guess that's option. Yep. So, Rygar, indeed. So, this is a fairly well-regarded game. Let's fight! Yes, let's, Rygar. So, the NES version is pretend that didn't happen. So the NES version is the one that is generally more well regarded, because the NES version was a pretty different game. This game is a pretty generic action platformer, to be honest with you. A lot like something like the arcade version of Strider or games like that. Basically, you're kind of looking at it. You go through the levels, you kill guys, you pick up power-ups, you aim to get score, and you have to complete it within the time limit, etc., etc., etc. That's basically it. The NES version, which I'll take a look at someday for sure, was more of an action-adventure, was sort of a non-linear world that you could go through. It was actually a pretty impressive game, both technically and design-wise, in its day on the NES. I never played it much back in the day, but I played it a while ago, and it was pretty cool. So I'd like to talk about that someday, but this is sort of where it all began. There actually was also a Rygar game on the PS2 and Wii that doesn't seem to be remembered very well in the annals of history, but I remember a lot of people digging at the time. Oh, wow. My weapon just got a crazy power up there. So as you can see here, you can recognize this from a lot of other games like I said, Strider, or even something like Ghosts and Goblins or something like that. You go left to right, you kill guys, you pick up upgrades, you get points and things like that. That's a very odd type of checkpoint thing, but okay. Pick up a statue, move it. And I just cracked the high score, which undoubtedly will come with a trophy at the end. Man, those trophies are hysterical. I mean, I know trophies are required now. It's clear that Hamster just didn't give a crap, and we're like, we want to put the same trophy in every game. We're way too lazy to come up with trophies for the individual games, so we're just gonna stick these in here for the menus and all this other crap, and we're gonna let that be that. That's cool in the sense that if you are someone who takes trophies seriously. I mean, I like trophies and achievements and stuff. I think they're kind of cool, but I don't go crazy about it. Stuff like that's cool because it can give you a lot of trophies for a minimal amount of effort, and to be honest, it was probably a calculated business decision because I could see a lot of people who are into trophies spending $8 on this game that they otherwise wouldn't, just because it's got easy trophies. They are easily exploited in that way, which is a little gross. But at the same time, honestly, trophies, super easy trophies and achievements like that, send the message to me personally that the developer kind of really didn't care that much. And was just like, you know, Capcom Arcade Cabinet has a whole bunch of cool stuff, like, related to the individual games in the collection. Like, feats that you have to accomplish in the game, in each individual title. Interesting pose. In order to get them. In this game, they're just kind of there, which to me indicates that they didn't really care that much. I mean, they did in some ways, in the sense that it has all that crazy screen adjustment stuff and all these other things that a lot of other emulation packages don't. But again, when you're writing a package that's going to go on a whole pile of different games, and writing a thing that stretches the screen is a pretty easy thing to program, so I'm guessing that's probably what it was. Oh, there I go. So you're kind of getting the idea of it here. Yeah, mark high score. Do I want to register my name? Sure. Or register on the high score on the leaderboard? Sure. And I got one for that too. Thank you very much. Can you accept further challenge? The producers. I guess that's a personalized, or that's a message, I guess. Hey, the producers are wondering, can you accept further challenge? I guess. So, yeah, there I guess technically is a plot to this. According to Wikipedia, it says, information gleaned from the console manuals, so not even from this, reveals that the evil being Rygar, or Ligar, L-I-G-A-R, has taken over the land of Argul, and Rygar, a dead warrior who has risen from his grave, must use his disc armor, along with a variety of other weapons to stop him. So, this is kind of now a new Dominator's reign begins. Like, that is utterly the most nondescript thing in the world. Like, am I the new Dominator? Am I taking, am I out to destroy the new Dominator? Don't really know, because it doesn't really say. But, yeah. So, kind of what you see is what you get here. Rygar the arcade game it's unremarkable. It's not bad. I mean, you know, as a sort of bog standard action platformer for arcades, it's fine. You know, it's reasonably fun if you want to go for score and things like that. The scoring system in it is, as I recall, not bad. It's a little weird, but it's not bad, and you could definitely score attack this or attempt to speed run it if you wanted to. There's two guys there, as it turns out. Oh man, it is one hit death, not unlike something like Contra, shall we say? But you know, it's all right. I mean, I don't mind it, but is this worth $8? Well, that's another question entirely. I can think of other games I would rather pay $8 to play. I would also think, to be honest, buying the complete pack for Capcom Arcade Cabinet, which is, I believe, $30. Even that, to be honest, I think is a little expensive, but it's a heck of a lot better value than this is. Honestly, this has got the same problem that the likes of the Wii Virtual Console has, and I've ranted about that before. Funny enough, my rant against the Wii U Virtual Console pricing is still one of my most popular videos, even though it's one of the most boring I've ever made, which I find really amusing and kind of depressing as well. But this has got the same problem as that. Like, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, you put a kind of, you know, mediocre wrapper on it, whatever. That does not make an old arcade game, and a fairly mediocre one at that, worth $8. Like, you can buy games, I've said this before, you know, I'm not a big mobile game guy. I don't really like most mobile games. I think most mobile games are crap. But at the same time, you can buy a game on a mobile device that looks a heck of a lot better than this, and has much more modern game design mechanics and play methods for, in some cases, as little as like $2 or $3. Like, and I'm not even talking the crappy free-to-play stuff on mobile. I'm talking full-on complete experiences you can get for just a couple of bucks with much more modern production values and mechanics. They want $8 for this on PS4, and this is a game that obviously the PlayStation 4 is in no way necessary to play. Like, having a collection of these on my Vita, that'd be kind of neat. But this isn't on the Vita. I don't think it's on the PS3 either. It's just on the PS4. So they put this out on the least popular of the Sony platforms that's in the market right now. And like, yeah, okay. I think there's 7 or 8 of these games out in Japan now. You bundle all those up in a package for, say, $15 and gave it to me with cross-buy, well, I guess there's not really much saving, but for save states, I guess. Give it to me cross-buy so that I could play it on this and on my Vita when I'm, you know, at work on my lunch hours. I might buy that. You know, having access to some arcade stuff on a, you know, digitally on a portable system where I can just fire it up and play for a while, I could get into that. Absolutely. But this just makes no sense. Like, even if this was even if this one game was $8 in cross-buy with the Vita, that's still way too much. But it's better. You know, I would still say that anything above even 5's probably a bit too much. But like this, I'm sorry. Individually, this shouldn't be more than maybe $2 or $3, if you ask me. Now, Hamster's a big company. They've been around for a long time. They probably know things that I don't. Maybe they've done the Venn diagram and whatnot, and there is enough of a market for this to... Okay. Maybe there is enough of a market for this to justify $8. Maybe they've determined that they will make enough money at $8 to make this worth their while. I mean, at some point, yes, you have to, you know, put an Excel spreadsheet together that says it's going to cost us this much to develop this, and, you know, here's how much we make off of each copy once Sony takes their cut and everything else. And so if we don't charge this much, you know, we probably can't make our money back. There's enough people who will pay $8 for this to turn a profit, whereas if we sell it for $2, we may not move enough copies of this to make up the volume necessary in order to turn a profit at $2. Maybe that's the case. But you know what? As consumers, it's really not our job to give a crap about any of that. And Purely as a consumer value proposition, man, this is kind of a ripoff. I wanted to check it out to show it to you guys so that you can see what it is. I forget what the other games are in this collection. I kind of dove into this one. I know Giant Bomb has talked about some of the other ones that are out in Japan, and I've no doubt those are coming here. I mean, literally all they have to do to put this out in North America is translate the menus. So, wow. At least my leaderboard score is going to be way better. So, the other ones will come out here. I think there's no doubt about that. But it's just not that great. Like, it's... If they were really, really exceptionally awesome games, maybe... Can I not kill that thing? Looks like I can't. Well, that's kind of lame. Like, if they were really exceptionally awesome games, then maybe? Don't you crap that thing on me. Oh, whoa, I didn't even know this. I have not played a lot of the arcade Rygar, so little things like... See, this is cool. Being able to swing on the rope like this is a neat little invention for 87. That's really lame. But yeah, the other ones are going to come out here. I mean, the other problem with this collection is that some of the games are pretty bad. Like, this is nothing... Wow, that got all artifacty and weird. This game is not stellar, but there are other ones in this collection that are way, way worse. I also believe there are some that are better. So there is something to say about that, I guess. Let's go into the menus here and just... I don't actually know what the principal difficulty difference is here. Like, that was easy, and yeah, it was pretty easy, but I'm wondering if we turn this up to, say, hard... Oh, wait. Shoot, sorry. It said I had to reset the game in order to apply the settings. Okay, there we go. See, if you wanted to change difficulty back in the day on an arcade board, you actually had to change physical dip switches on the hardware that would usually cause the game to freeze up or do something else weird if you did it while it was turned on. So that's probably why it went, hey, you got to reset this thing. So, yeah, the value proposition here is pretty crappy, to be honest with you. I think these should be at most $2 or $3 each, and also available in a package where you could, say, buy either a preset amount of them for, say, $10, or what would be even cooler is if they had, like, and maybe the PlayStation Store doesn't facilitate this, but what they should have done, to be honest with you, is just put out the wrapper on its own for free, and say you could either buy packages of games, or you could do like a pick system where you could say each game is $2, or for $10, or say $8 to make it a better value. You can have 5 of them, and you can pick any 5 that you want. So you don't necessarily have to play the games you don't like very much. You can pay. There's a lot more enemies here, for sure. I guess that's what the hard difficulty does. It doesn't make them any harder. They all still die in one hit, but there's a lot more of them, that's for sure. Which gives much better score potential, which is rather hilarious because it didn't change my score there, as you can see. So, basically, if you want to rank high on the leaderboards, you've got to play on the higher difficulties, because it gives you a lot more enemies to kill and points to get as a result, and it looks like it's all ranked the same regardless of the difficulty, so you basically will never place decently on the leaderboards if you're not playing high difficulty, which is pretty stupid as well. Most of these other collections either don't rank you unless you play on the default settings, or they have different leaderboards for each difficulty. Now, I may be prejudging. Let's see what happens when I die here. Maybe it'll say you can't rank because you didn't play on the default settings. We'll see here. You think it should have mentioned that when I changed the difficulty, but we'll see. If it does actually have everything in a single leaderboard, regardless of difficulty, that's really dumb, and that really wrecks the competitive nature of this. All right, so that's it. Let's see what it does. It hasn't asked, so maybe it doesn't. At the same time, my score was also way worse than my last best score, so I don't know. It's not clear about that. Maybe we can see. if we, let's check the manual here. Does it actually say? For PSN, to use the PSN internet connection, you must first create a Sony Entertainment Network account. Yeah, you can't buy the game if you don't do that, guys, just so you know. There are a total of 27 rounds. You cannot continue from round 21. Wow, that's mean. So this doesn't seem to say anything about it. So, okay. So, yeah, that's really what we've got here. Again, this stuff bums me out. It really does. Because, like, whether or not Rygar, the arcade game, is any good is a matter of opinion. It's a subjective thing. Some people like it more than others. Some people will have much fonder memories than others, and they'll enjoy it for that reason. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know what? If I had my druthers, every old game ever would be available on systems. Historically good, historically bad, any kind, because it doesn't, to be frank about it, it doesn't matter whether I think a game is good or not, right? It's, you might like a game that I don't like, and vice versa. So, and that's, you know, that's just the way stuff goes. But $8 for Rygar Arcade, like, even if you're fond of this game, that's the thing. Maybe somebody at Hamster did the math. And, you know, obviously, you know, Sony needs their cut, and Koei Tecmo would need their cut as well, because Hamster doesn't own this game. This is Koei Tecmo's game, so they get a piece of this as well, I'm sure. But I just don't understand, like, $8 is just too much. Like, I don't know anybody, even people who like old arcade games, who would spend that kind of money. Like, everyone I know who's into arcade games, even as much as I am, would look at this and go, $8? Are you out of your frickin' mind? Which is pretty much what I did. I mean, I bought this game because I wanted to see how good the front end was, and I wanted to show it off to you guys, but I don't think I'd buy any of the other ones at this price. And frankly, the front end is not the worst I've seen. It's most certainly not the worst I've seen, but compared to Capcom Arcade Cabinet, or even Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, some of those later collections that the Backbone Entertainment did, this doesn't hold a candle to those. And I mean, frankly, nobody's ever done an emulation collection like M2, which are the guys who did Capcom Arcade Cabinet. Those guys, you can tell, love this stuff. This feels like something that, like, you know, either Hamster had a team of people that was like, we got to give these guys something to do, or they had, like, some interns or something. I don't know if interns are a thing in Japan, but they were like, we just got to give somebody something to do here, so, hey, we can get these licenses from these other, you know, publishing partners that we've worked with, so, why don't we do that? Let's put a collection together, you know, sell it for a few bucks, we'll sucker some people in and make some easy money. And if that's what happened with this, that's pretty darn cynical and a pretty crappy way to treat gaming history and gaming properties. And yeah, I don't think it's worth it. I hate the Wii and Wii U Virtual Console pricing as well, but at least there's better games on there, for one thing. And it's a really nice experience, and you get some additional added value for that, at least on the Wii U, where, you know, you can play on the gamepad and all this other stuff. All you've got here is Rygar with no extra scaling options, a crappy front-end menu that's got some options you're never going to want, a leaderboard that apparently can be pretty easily gamed by the look of it, a bunch of cynically designed... Whoops. Oh, well. A bunch of cynically designed trophies that are easy to get, but clearly had no effort behind them. And I mean, for crying out loud, you can't even change the background. Like, you couldn't have picked a couple of pieces of the arcade artwork, scanned it in, and made it possible to change the background. Like, I'm actually kind of getting more pissed off at this thing the more I play it. Like, look at this. Frame of the display. Like, what did that do? It put a frackin' box around it. Like, thanks? Like, I don't know. Yeah, I wanted to go into this blind so that you guys could sort of experience it as I did. I mean, I knew a little bit about it because Giant Bomb had previously covered this, to be fair, but I kind of just watched their video of it in the background at work and didn't really do much with it. So, I don't know. If there were better games in it, maybe, but I frankly think that the value that you're getting out of this as a whole is just crappy. Even if it was a good game, this front end is not very good, and $8 is a ripoff. If they couldn't have made $8 work... Wow. Can I only see the first 100 users? Oh, no. Wait. Oh, my God. So there's only 2 selections here. There's upper level, which shows you the first 100, and then myself, which shows me the exact position I'm in, which, by the way, shows you how many people have bought this. I'm 349, and I didn't score that high. But I can't scroll this. You hear that? That's me mashing buttons. I can't scroll this, so I can't... Wow. Yeah, this sucks, man. I can look at the top 100 people and myself, but I can't look around myself. Wow. I just keep saying that. This sucks, man. Yeah, you know what? Unless one of the games that comes out in this Arcade Legends package is a game that you really, really love, can't live without, and can't get somewhere else, I'd stay away from this. Don't support this, man. This is a cynical cash-in, honestly. This really feels like a cynical cash-in. It really feels like they're not doing justice to the property that they're doing this. This isn't something that came out from a group that really loves these older games and wanted to honor gaming's history and say, hey, look, here's these really awesome old games and we've given them this really great treatment so you can play them on a modern system. This is just like, hey, we got some cheap licenses. Let's throw a menu around it and charge way too much for it and see what we can get. That's a damn shame. And you know what? I started off hoping this would be good and hoping I could recommend it because there's nothing I like more than recommending these retro collections because the more people buy these, the more of these get made, and I think that's a cause worth supporting. This is not. This is pretty craptastic, to be honest with you. Reasonably decent game. I mean, I've spent most of my time talking about this collection only because the game is not all that impressive, but I mean, Rygar's fine, but it ain't $8 fine, that's for sure. And to be honest with you, the NES version is a far more interesting title, and it's a very different game. I'm going to talk about that someday. I don't know if I'll do that as my next video. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe it'll help get the taste of this out of my mouth, but I figured it was a service worth providing to my subscribers that we checked into this to see how it was. And, well, I spent $8 so you guys wouldn't have to. And, yeah, don't. This is not great. So, yeah, that is Arcade Legends Rygar, published by Hamster Corporation. We are taking a look at the obviously Rygar, which was released in 1986 by Tecmo. The game itself is so-so. The collection is a ripoff. Don't buy it. Don't support this. Go buy yourself a copy of Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection or something like that. Support that cause. Support people who give a damn. Not this. My name's Parallax Abstraction. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked watching me rant about this, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps me out a great deal. And, well, I gotta go play something better and cleanse my palate. I'll see you next time.